Hi, everyone. I'm Emily, a 28-year-old marketing specialist. I just returned from 2 years working abroad in London. Stepping into my childhood home after all that time felt off. The warm, familiar scent of mom's cooking was gone, replaced by something I couldn't quite place: control. Lillian, my younger sister, had somehow assumed the role of house manager while I was away. "You can't eat that, Mom. It's not good for your heart." Lillian's voice echoed from the kitchen. "I've prepared a special meal just for you," she continued as I quietly stood in the doorway. "But honey, I'm craving my usual breakfast," Mom replied weakly. "Remember what the doctor said?" Lillian insisted, setting down a bowl of oatmeal in front of Mom while tucking away the fresh groceries I'd glimpsed earlier. Some things never change, I thought. Lillian had always had to be in charge, just like when we were kids. "Emily, when did you get in?" Mom's face lit up, and she tried to rise for a hug. "Mom, sit down," Lillian scolded, pushing her gently back into the chair. "You need to stay calm. No excitement, it's bad for your heart." Ignoring her, I leaned in to hug Mom anyway. "The doctor said mild arrhythmia, Lillian. She's not made of glass." A flood of childhood memories washed over me. Lillian dictating what games we'd play, which TV shows we'd watch, always getting her way. "Emily, don't upset your sister," was the constant refrain growing up. Now she was taking her bossy streak to a whole new level. "Hey babe, I brought those supplements you asked for." A tall guy walked in, Kevin, Lillian's boyfriend. He seemed nice enough but looked uncomfortable as Lillian snatched the bag from his hands. "Thanks. These are perfect for Mom's new diet plan," she said with a smirk. As she spoke, I noticed her discreetly slipping a pack of premium chocolate bars into her purse. Later that afternoon, I sat at the dining table, reviewing household bills scattered across it. "Lillian, why are there so many withdrawals from Mom and Dad's account?" I asked, holding up a bank statement. "I'm managing their finances now," she replied flatly. "They can't handle the stress of bills anymore." Snatching the papers from my hands, she added, "Besides, what would you know? You've been gone for 2 years." That evening, I met up with Maria, my old high school friend, at a local cafe. By some stroke of luck, she now worked at the same marketing firm where I'd just been hired. "Girl, I can't believe Lillian's turned herself into some kind of house dictator," Maria said, stirring her coffee. When your mom mentioned her heart issues, Lillian swooped in like some self-appointed savior. "She's always been controlling," I sighed. "But this feels worse." "Did you know she's handling their money now?" Maria raised an eyebrow. "That's not good. Remember how she handled the student council funds in high school? They had to audit everything after she graduated." I nodded, the memory a sharp pang in my chest. "And now she's convinced Mom and Dad she's their guardian angel. Mom can't even make tea without her approval." "Just be careful," Maria warned. "Lillian has a way of flipping things around when you call her out." "I know," I said, staring into my coffee, "but I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago. I'm going to do something about this before it gets worse." The next morning, Lillian's authoritarian streak escalated. "The kitchen is off limits after 7 p.m., she announced, installing a padlock on the refrigerator. "And Mom, breakfast is only between 8 o'clock and 8:30. "But I get hungry at night," Dad protested. "Then eat more during your designated meal times," Lillian snapped, her tone brooking no argument. Later that day, while combing through Mom and Dad's bank statements, I spotted something alarming: a monthly $2,000 charge labeled household management fee. "What's this?" I demanded, confronting Lillian. "That's for my services," she said coolly. "Running this house isn't free, Emily. Not everyone gets to abandon their family to party in London." "Party?" I shot back. "I was working." "Watch your tone," she hissed. "Wouldn't want Mom to hear about your college drinking escapades. Her heart might not handle it." By midweek, I found Dad in his study, looking troubled over a stack of business papers. "Everything okay?" I asked. "The business is struggling," he admitted, his brow furrowed. "But something's not adding up. The numbers don't make sense. Lillian's been helping with the bookkeeping." "But Dad, let me help. I can look at the accounts," I pleaded. Before Dad could respond, Lillian burst into the room. "Absolutely not. Dad's under enough stress. I'm handling everything." Later, when I tried to transfer money to help with bills, Lillian convinced them to reject it. "We don't need your guilty conscience money," she snapped. One evening, I overheard Lillian berating Kevin in the backyard. "You're useless. Can't even back me up when Emily questions things." "Maybe she has a point about the kitchen rules," Kevin began cautiously. "Shut up. You know nothing about family dynamics," Lillian shot back, her voice cold and cutting. Kevin must have noticed me watching because he looked away quickly when Lillian cornered me in the hallway later. "Stay out of my business, or I'll make sure Mom and Dad see you for the ungrateful child you are." Aunt Rachel's visit couldn't have come at a better time. Over dinner, Lillian refused to let Mom have a second helping. "Since when do you control your mother's portions?" Aunt Rachel asked, eyebrows raised. "Since I became responsible for this family's well-being," Lillian replied smugly, unlike some people who just criticize. Later, Aunt Rachel pulled me aside. "Something's not right here, Emily. Your mother seems afraid to speak." "I know," I whispered. "Lillian's taken over everything." When Lillian went out with Kevin the next day, I snuck into Dad's office. Scanning recent business records, my heart sank. I found multiple unauthorized transfers to Lillian's personal account. "Look at these transactions," I said, showing Aunt Rachel. "She's been stealing from Dad's business," Aunt Rachel said, frowning. "That explains the new designer bags. But Emily, be careful. Lillian's telling relatives you're mentally unstable from your time abroad. She's saying you're jealous and trying to destroy the family." "Of course she is," I muttered. "She's laying the groundwork in case I expose her. She's even called your cousin, crying, saying you've had violent outbursts." "Violent outbursts?" I laughed bitterly. "I've barely raised my voice." "I believe you," Aunt Rachel said. "But Lillian's playing a dangerous game. She's got your parents convinced only she can take care of them." "She's not taking care of them," I said, gripping the evidence. "She's controlling them. And now I can prove it." That evening, Kevin caught me outside work. "We need to talk," he said. "Lillian's not what you think. I found something on her laptop, documents from her old jobs. She's done this before." "Done what?" I asked, my stomach nodding. "Financial fraud. She was fired from Jefferson Marketing for stealing client funds. Then from Citibank for manipulating accounts, even a tech company before that. She always targets people who trust her." I showed him my documentation. "Like these transfers from Dad's business?" "Exactly, but there's more. She's planning something bigger. I overheard her talking about getting your parents to sign over the house." Aunt Rachel and I met with one of Lillian's former coworkers, Jenny. Over coffee, Jenny recounted her experience. "She seemed so helpful at first," Jenny said, shaking her head. "Offered to manage the office finances. By the time we discovered the missing money, she'd already moved on." At home, I noticed Lillian rushing to hide papers when I entered her room. Later, while she was showering, I found her diary tucked under the mattress. My hands shook as I read her words. "Once the house is in my name, we can discuss assisted living options for Mom. Dad will be easier to handle once she's gone." I shared what I found with Aunt Rachel. "She's not just controlling them, she's planning to get rid of them." "We need to act now," Aunt Rachel said, gathering bank statements. "This pattern is clear. She's been siphonning money for years." That evening, everything came to a head. Dad clutched his chest, reaching for his medication. "You can't take those now," Lillian shouted, blocking the cabinet. "It's not time." "I need them," Dad gasped. "Give him the pills, Lillian," I demanded, moving toward the cabinet. "Stay back. You don't understand his condition." "Stop it, Lillian. I saw your diary. I know everything." Her face went pale. "You went through my things." "Like you went through Dad's business accounts, or those 3 jobs you got fired from." Kevin stepped out from the hallway. "It's over, Lillian. I found all the evidence on your laptop." "You went through my computer," she hissed. "How dare you?" "I had to," Kevin said. "The transfers, the fraud, the plans for your parents, it's disgusting. You don't understand. I deserve this. I'm the one taking care of them." "No," Kevin said firmly. "You're exploiting them. We're done. And if you try anything, everything goes public." "You can't prove anything," Lillian snarled. "Actually, we can." I held up my phone. "Jenny had a lot to say, and we got your diary, the bank records, and the emails." Lillian lunged for my phone, but Kevin blocked her. "It's over, Lillian." Kevin headed for the door. "Emily, I'll email you everything I found." "Lillian, don't contact me again." Lillian's carefully constructed world crumbled as she stood there, shaking with rage. "You'll regret this," she hissed. The dining table was littered with evidence as Aunt Rachel stood beside me for support. "But she's been taking care of us," Mom said, her voice trembling. "No," I said gently. "She's been controlling you. Look at these nursing home applications she filled out. And these." I handed Dad the documents. "Are the papers to transfer the house into her name." Dad's face turned ashen as he reviewed the business accounts. All those missing funds. Before we could process the shock, the doorbell rang. A detective stood on the porch, flanked by one of Lillian's former employers. "We're investigating allegations of financial exploitation," the detective said. Just then, Lillian burst through the door, her face a mask of indignation. "What's going on?" "Miss Thompson," the detective said, stepping forward. "We have statements from multiple victims of your financial fraud schemes. As the days passed, more people came forward. The tech company pressed charges. The bank launched its own investigation. Former clients shared their harrowing experiences. I trusted her with everything," one elderly client sobbed to a detective. "She stole my life savings." Mom and Dad took immediate action. They canceled Lillian's access to all accounts, changed the locks, and began restoring their independence. Mom came to a painful realization. "My heart condition. It was never as serious as she made it seem, was it?" "No, Mom," I said, holding her hand. "She used it to control you." 3 months later, Lillian stood in our driveway, tears streaming down her face. "Please, I've changed. I'll get help. I'll pay everything back." "You can pay it back from jail," I said, closing the door firmly. Under proper management, Dad's business recovered. Mom began cooking her favorite recipes again, filling the house with a comforting sense of our childhood. Meanwhile, I thrived at work and earned a promotion. For the first time in years, our lives felt peaceful. Last week, a tear-stained letter arrived from Lillian. "I'm your sister. Family forgives." I threw it away unopened. "She's requesting a family visit," Aunt Rachel mentioned during Sunday dinner. Mom shook her head firmly, serving an extra portion of dessert, something Lillian would never have allowed. "Some things can't be forgiven," she said. "She chose control over family. Now she can live with those consequences." The last I heard, Lillian faced additional charges. Meanwhile, I focused on building a life surrounded by genuine love and trust. Sometimes, family isn't defined by blood but by who earns your trust and respect. And as for forgiveness, not everyone deserves it. Cutting off toxic people isn't harsh, it's necessary for healing. If you were in my position, would you have exposed Lillian the moment you discovered the first signs of financial abuse? Or would you have tried to handle it privately within the family? Was I too harsh in gathering evidence secretly before confronting her? Some say family loyalty should come first, while others argue that protecting vulnerable loved ones is more important than keeping family secrets. What would you have done?